All right, so we're going to make the calf muscles much easier to learn. We're going to really just stick with the muscles that are important because when we come a long way and really the muscles that are lying underneath that we never see are really aren't important to learn for the artist. And this isn't meant to be like, an anatomy course for anything but artists. So let's go and get started here and let's do the front muscles, right? There's two main muscles in the front that you're going to see that are important. One is the tibialis anterior, and that's going to be what people call like the shin muscle. It's the muscle that it attaches up here to the top of the tibius, the lower part of what we like think of as the knee, and it comes down across and attaches to the big toe, to the inside of the big toe here. And that's that muscle when you flex your shin. That's that shin muscle that runs along your shin bone, and it kind of sticks out. That's that muscle right there. So we'll go ahead and sketch that in really fast first. Right, so we use red here to do this. It's going to attach underneath these muscles here a little bit, underneath that ligament, not ligament, tendon, sorry. It's going to run along the shin bone like this. It kind of has a shape like this. And then it's going to get really thin as it comes down here and attaches to the inside of the toe there, or outside of the toe rather, outside of the big toe. Right, we know that on each side of most every muscle we have tendons, and so we like to draw them in like a grayish blue. I can just grab that color there, I guess, the color we've been using. Like this, and it comes up here. And then we'll add a couple of dark lines and light lines to this muscle. This is one of those muscles, and it's not going to change much of its structure because of where it's attached by how the leg moves. I mean, obviously, when you lift your toes up, it's going to flex this muscle, and you can see that on yourself. There's another muscle that you can see. It's a major muscle that moves your toes up and down, or excuse me, moves your toes upwards. It pulls them up. There's muscles in the back that pull your toes back down. And this is called the extension digitorum longus, and it slightly goes underneath the muscle we just drew. Maybe I should have drawn it first, but it's really not that important. What's important is just where it attaches and how it looks. So it attaches right here to the side, to the same area of the tibia, and it runs along and underneath this muscle a little bit, so we can't see part of the muscle. It's underneath there. Then it comes back out here, like so, and then it extends into extensors. That's why it's called the extensor digitorum. And these would be all in gray, or blue-gray. They're all tendons. These are the pulleys, and they connect to these four toes here. We go into this in the feet, so I'm not going to go into like their full-on shape and everything, how they attach to the toes. We do that when we go over feet. And have the tendons on either side of the muscle. But it doesn't affect the way you draw the muscle. That is, the tendons don't affect the way you draw the muscle. It's still you're still drawing it as a muscle, regardless of the fact that there's tendons on each side, that you still draw those tendons like a muscle. Sometimes tendons can be quite flat though, and the tendons that are flat, obviously you don't want it to show too much up as like a bulkiness, because it's not a bulkiness, tendon. Like these tendons down here are pretty bulky when you flex your feet just right. You can see those tendons working, almost like pulley systems. Right now, there are some muscles from the side and the back that we're going to see from the front view. So there are three layers of muscles that we're going to see from the front view of the calf. But this whole muscle, when you draw it, when you're drawing the figure, you're going to draw this whole calf muscle coming out like this, coming in like this. You're just going to draw it like that, and then sometimes you might draw a little line right here, showing the definition of that muscle. And that's how you're going to draw it, because it all just appears as one muscle when you draw it. But there are three separate muscles, inner to outer layers, that are stacked on top of each other. So from the side view, we'll kind of see what that is. You have like one muscle here, another muscle, and then finally your actual calf muscle. Starting with the inner muscle then, because like I said, you have three of them. When you start with that inner muscle, you have the flexor digitorum longus. And then the next muscle outside of that is going to be the solus, and then finally you have your calf muscle, or is known as the gastrocnemius. I'm not even sure that's pronounced correctly, but I don't think the pronunciations of these muscles are going to help you draw them better. Do you? I don't. Okay. There's also a almost it's more of a tendon type muscle in between the two muscles that I just mentioned in the back, in the very back muscle, and this is called the plantaris. But we're not really going to be able to see this, but we'll draw anyway because we'll see it a little bit. So let's go ahead and draw that first muscle then. And it's quite thin. We're not seeing much of it. Most of this is being hidden behind us. And from the back view, you don't see these muscles at all because they're being covered. Let's go ahead and draw a dark line to kind of separate that muscle now. But again, you're not going to see these definitions from the front view. When you have skin on the body, that is. Right, so that was the flexor digitorum longus. Next, we're going to draw the solus. Let's go ahead and kind of sketch it in here. And right after this, you have that tendon I was talking about, really thin right here. Can't really see much of it at all. Let's separate those muscles. And finally, you have the calf muscle itself, which from the back view is the muscle that you see. That's the dominant muscle. That's the main muscle of the whole entire calf region. Some of these muscles kind of extend down like that. And you have a little bit of tendons down here to add some meat. Right, so that would cover the calf from the right, or the inside the calf from the front view. There's a couple more muscles that we can see from the front view, and that's beyond the outer side of the leg. And these are the fibularis longus and brevis. And so the brevis you only see very briefly right here. And for some reason, this red doesn't look as rich. Am I using it? Maybe I'm supposed to be using that red. There we go. Okay, so I was using a lighter red. Might be easier. The lighter red might be easier on the eyes. I'm not really sure. It comes down like that, and then it has like a tendon that comes down and connects to the outside of the foot. Kind of connects and rolls under the foot a little bit. That's not terribly important. And then we'll draw the fibularis longus, which attaches way up here to the well, I call this the outside, this the inside, and then the front, and then the back of the leg. All right. So whenever I'm talking about arms or anything, like if I'm talking about the arm here, I'm talking about when you have your arms to your side and your thumb is facing in front of you. You know, your thumb's facing the same way your eyeballs are facing. When your arm is like that, you see from the side view, you see your tricep, your bicep, and then the brachialis in the middle of those muscles if you're buff enough, right? So this side view here. So when I'm referring to the side of the humerus bone, I'm referring to this right here. That's where the deltoid connects to the side. The inside would be the inside here, right? So the opposite of the outside. And then the front and back, this would be the front of your humerus bone, and then the back of your humerus bone would be here. And so the triceps attached to the back, the biceps to the front, the deltoid to the side, and these two muscles here also to the side. You have your brachialis and you have your radial brachialis. And for some reason, I don't have the brachialis visible right now. It must be on a layer I have turned off. That layer, okay. And so let's get back to the fibularis longus. I don't want to get sidetracked here. So it comes out longer, or we can see more of it at least. And this accounts for the outer part of our calf when you're drawing the figure. When you're adding in all the detail. In other words, when you're drawing the shape of the leg, you have that shape right here. Then you have this inner calf which comes out more, and that gives the angle. Right, this angle here is opposite from the ankle angle. That is, the inside ankle is higher than the lower ankle. So just remember those opposite triangles, or V's if you want to memorize it that way. And we will add a couple little highlights to those muscles. Right, and so that's how the calf muscles look like from the front view. I want you to go ahead and, before we move forward, to go ahead and review this by drawing it a few more times from reference. That can either be by rewinding the video and drawing along with me in real time, or by just looking at the muscle map here, the files that are attached as a zip file, and drawing it from that. then I want you to try to attempt to draw it from your imagination. At first it might be difficult, obviously, to draw from your imagination because you're still trying to memorize this stuff. So you might want to just take it one muscle or two muscles at a time. Just isolate, let's say, these two muscles here and learn those from imagination and draw those a few times from imagination and then from reference and from imagination until you get it down. And know that this one comes here and this one comes down and splits. Main thing you're trying to memorize is the general area of where they attach. That's what's important. And we'll see better where the fibularis attaches from the outer side view when we draw that. And in fact, let's go ahead and draw that now. So you have this outer side view of the leg. From this outer view, we can still see the tibulus anterior, and it kind of connects to more of the side. From this view, we can see it's connecting more to the side of the tibia, and it's wrapped around, and it's going to the other side of the leg. So what this muscle is likened to, as far as how it works and how it wraps around the foot, can be likened to your the brachioradialis. So you have the brachialis between your tricep and bicep, then the brachioradialis kind of seems to pull from underneath the brachialis and wraps around your forearm, and it starts from the outer side of your forearm and then it wraps around to your thumb side. That's kind of what this is doing. It's starting from this side of the leg and it's going all the way to the opposite side of the big toe, right? That's the thumb of the foot. And so that muscle can be likened to that muscle. They're similar. And just in case you're not sure what muscle I'm talking about with the arm, you have your brachialis here, then you have your brachioradialis, which comes from right underneath it, attaches underneath it, and it comes around, and then attaches to the opposite side of the thumb, which is over here. And so if your arm's twisted, that muscle is going to twist with it because it's attached to the thumb. So if you turn your thumb this way, you're going to see that muscle is going to turn with it. And if you turn your thumb in this way, that muscle is going to go from the outside of the arm and it's going to twist all the way around. So that muscle is going to twist a lot and disappear. And you can figure this stuff out logically. And I go through some drawings, but just to give an example, what I'm talking about for, let's say you're drawing the arm really quickly here, and you have like your deltoid area, your bicep tricep area, and then you have your forearm. Now, if your forearm is being twisted in such a way that the thumb is facing down over here, we can't see it. It's behind the hand, so the forearm is twisting around and under that way. Then what happens is you have your tricep, your brachialis. The radial brachialis comes off of that and comes over to that thumb side and disappears over there like that. And you have the other muscle coming off of it, right? And so that's what you're going to see happen there, is that brachioradialis is twisting around out of sight because it's attaching over there to the thumb. And so all you see is this part of it here. And then even when you bend your arm like this over here, what happens with that muscle, you can kind of logically figure it out. And I go through this in more detail later, but just want to quickly cover it just to maybe as something that's going to come in the future of the course. So you'll get there soon. It's going to come like that, wrap around, attached to like that. So it's wrapping around, attached to the thumb side of the arm. Like I said, we will get into that in more greater detail later in the course. How muscles look when the arms are from different views and stuff like that. This is also all from later part of the course. We haven't got there yet, so. Right, so we'll just call this the shin muscle. Easier to memorize it like that. Because the names aren't important. It's the function of the muscle that's important, and knowing what it does, where it attaches. Right, the next muscle we see attaching to the inner side here is the second one we drew from the front, which is the extensor digitorum longus. And this muscle, as we see, it comes down. It kind of splits away from that muscle a little bit, like so. And then this is when it turns down into the extensors. That is these would be tendons that act like pulleys for the toes that pull the toes upward. You have other tendons, pulleys that connect to the under part of the foot and wrap around and connect to the back of the leg, and which muscles in the back of the leg flex and pull the toes down. So that's that muscle there. So from the outer side of the leg, if someone's really, really buff and ripped, you can see some of this definition between these muscles. And we get into that later as well. The next muscle we're going to see is the fibrillaris longus. And like I said, this is the one where you can see it really attaches to the side where we can't see it. That's why it kind of disappears from the front view where it's attaching from. And it kind of comes like this. So basically, remember, it's kind of like the forearm. There's these three muscles on this side that are working together as far as like how you see them as a group. If you kind of group them together, it makes it easier to draw them. This one kind of wraps underneath the foot like that. So it's like a grouping of muscles. And if you imagine it that way when you're drawing, oops, that's the wrong color. If you imagine that way when you're drawing, it just makes it much easier to memorize that, okay, on the outside of the calf, there's a grouping of three muscles. And again, by outside, I'm meaning this side view here. The inside side view is the opposite side of this. There was tendons over here before that I had drawn. Okay, there we go. And then from this outside view, we're really only going to see two muscles as far as the calf goes. One is the soleus, or the soleus, and it's going to connect here. And it kind of comes down like this. And then there's this whole tendon here that connects your Achilles tendon, and that muscle kind of connects into that Achilles tendon, but this also is the main muscle that attaches here is your calf muscles, and that's what we can see now. Right, and if you want to get technical, that muscle is called the gastrostomus or gastrocnemius. I'm not sure which, it's probably Latin. Anyway, the pronunciation of the muscle isn't important, it's the shape and how it functions, where it attaches, that's important to learn. That's why I don't really spend the time to go and look up the proper punctuation of every single word, because it's not something that you need to know. It's not something that I need to know. And I guess if you want to know it for like anatomical reasons, and maybe you're taking an anatomy course for being a doctor or something like that, sure. Maybe then you need to know so that you all have a common word to call that muscle. But I'm not going to get into that kind of detail. Well, I mean, I say it a couple times, and there's no need for me to say the muscle over and over again. We'll just refer to it as the more basic common name, the calf muscle. Right, so you have that separation. So that's what you're going to see from the outside view. So the main thing you're going to memorize from the outside view of the calf is that you have these groupings of three muscles that attach to the side of the tibia. Then you have the calf muscle, basically. You kind of want to memorize this as one muscle because that's how it's really going to look when you're drawing it. You're not really going to see a separation between those two muscles. The cut you're going to see if you were to draw this calf here. Say this is the knee and everything, that's that part coming up. The calf muscle coming down here. If someone's like ripped, the cut you're going to see is going to be right here, like that. That's the cut you're going to see. If someone's really, really ripped, you might see a couple of these cuts in here, like this. And if you want to like draw some really comic book buff character, you can really, pump these muscles out and really distinct them and show the separation between these muscles. And you can give a really kind of almost strange, surreal look to your character, by giving that detail. And that's what's good about knowing the anatomy like this is you have that option. If you want, you can give a character as much detail as you want. And it's a lot harder to memorize like drawings from comic books or anything, and try to memorize, okay, the forearm can be very. I tried to learn the forearm this way and it never worked. I never got the forearm memorized this way. Like I never could draw the forearm from imagination unless I just memorized one pattern. But I couldn't figure out logically, like, okay, hey, if I'm drawing a pose and the arm's doing this, where do those muscles attach to now? I couldn't think about that because I didn't have the muscle knowledge. I didn't know where the muscles were and where they attached. But now that I know where the muscles are and where they attach, I can logically figure out what the muscles might be doing from any given pose, and I can work out a pose. It might take me a little bit longer, but once I got that pose worked out and drawn a few times, then it's like, hey, I've done this 1,000 times. I can just bust this out without even thinking about it. And that's what a lot of comic artists do. But you can't do that for every single pose that's possibly imaginable that you might be drawing in your comic books. Imagine to do that would take you forever. You'd be memorizing several different, like you'd be memorizing how does the forearm look when it's this direction, not knowing anything about it and why it is that way. You just be like, okay, I know that when I draw it this way, I have these muscles and these muscles that I see, and when the forearms turn over this way, I'm going to see this big muscle like this, and then maybe that muscle, and maybe a muscle over here, and you don't know why it's that way. You're just memorizing muscle maps. Like you're memorizing how the arm looks from different angles and how it's drawn maybe by a certain artist. But when you learn it this way, okay, when I can see the side of the leg, I know there's those three muscles there. I know I can represent the leg, and I can just have it be more simple like this, like a female leg. Or I know I can add a little bit of definition here. I can add maybe the other cut right here a little bit. And so I can have those two cuts and then like some shade between them. These are the options you have, or you can maybe even show a little bit of that front cut here, like that. Now you have this kind of leg. So you can decide how defined you want the character to be, and you know where those muscles are going. You know if the foot's turned around to the inside, it's twisting these muscles, these two muscles here, because the muscles, these are attached to the other side of the foot, right? The inside of the foot, not the outside of the foot. And so as the foot turns away from us, we can see we're not going to see as much of these muscles. You can figure that logically. You can go, okay, so I have the knee in here, I have the calf, everything is still the same as I did a second ago, except now, since the foot is turning away from us over here, it's like being, it's kind of turned like over that way, whatever, then these muscles, you're going to see maybe the two muscles like that, and then they're going to disappear like this away from our side of view. So we only see a part of them, but the other muscle is going to come down, it's connecting under here, so we actually see that whole muscle there. And then we're going to start to see more of the calf muscles back here, because the leg's turning, we're seeing like the side view and the back view a little bit, and so we're starting to see the back view of these muscles that come down, connect to the heel here, Achilles tendon, and we're starting to see in a foreshortened way the calf muscles. Then we know also the knee's turning away from us, so instead we start to see those muscles that are on the outside of the knee. And that's what you start to see from the side view. Maybe you can see a little bit of the knee over there, but not much of it. And these are the kind of things you can figure out logically, because you don't have to like do a bunch of drawing memorization from different poses and try to memorize how that pose looks. That would just be like impossible to fill your brain up with that much information. There are certain difficult poses you might want to dedicate to memory, but when you have the muscle knowledge that you're learning, you're going to be able to figure this stuff out logically. I'm sorry for that little tangent it might seem like, but I feel it's necessary because it's really important to know how these muscles look, and then we can figure out what they're going to look like from different views and so forth. Right now, from the inside of the leg, we don't see very many muscles. The main muscles that we see from the inside of the leg is you still have the tibialis anterior. You can see it's wrapped around from the opposite side. Remember, it attaches to the outside of the tibias. And you're seeing a very thin part of it coming down here because remember, it stretches around and attaches to the inside of our big toe, basically our thumb toe. And so this is coming from the opposite side to the opposite side, right? So it starts from the outside and comes to the inside of the leg. So it has like this S, which is similar to the brachioradialis that we talked about. From the inside, the first muscle we can see is the flexor digitorum longus. And it's very thin. You don't see much of it. It comes down, wraps around, because this is going to be a pulley system for under the toes. The next muscle we see, and we see quite a bit of it from this inner view, is the soleus or the soleus, or the soleus. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. One of those ways is probably correct, though. I imagine it might be soleus. I'm sure in biology class I learned how it's pronounced and just kind of forgot about it. The next muscle we see, I'm going to draw completely in gray because it's mostly a tendon more than it is a muscle. And it's very thin. And it comes from up here from behind a little bit, behind the tibia, the backside of the tibia, comes around and attaches down here into the main Achilles tendon. And then behind that, you can actually see the calf muscles. I'm going to draw them in there like that. And then also you can see the calf muscles from this view coming down like this. So that's kind of like separating the calf muscles from the inside view. Right, that's all there is to it from the outer angle. Or from the inner angle, sorry. Right, but the main thing you're going to see with skin on it is you're just going to see this cut right here, and you might be able to see that little bit of muscle there, and then you're going to see that cut there. That's the main like muscle map, and when we go through muscle maps later, but that's kind of what you want to think about when you're having the skin. And these muscles don't twist and turn too much like the forearm muscles. Finally, we're going to learn the muscles from the back view. Right, now technically you will be able to see a little bit of the the Plateris, you're actually seeing or the Plantaris, you're actually seeing part of the actual muscle part now from the back view, but most of it's hidden. It attaches up here. It kind of has this shape like this, and this is the muscle part. And then it turns right back to tendon. And that's where the tendon goes down, around like that, and goes down. But the main thing you're going to see are the calf muscles. So let's go ahead and draw those. They attach to each side of the inside of the tibia. There's like a little notch in here. They roll inside that notch and attach right here. There's another notch on this side of the tibia, and it rolls in. So it's like a, bulk between those two notches that allows these tendons to just slide right into. Right? And so let's go ahead and kind of imagine the overall shape of the calf. Make sure I get this right. It's kind of like this. Then it comes down, so it's almost like a diamond shape. And that's where it connects to the top of the heel there, from the back view at least. And this all comes up to, this is all tendon right here. The Achilles tendon is quite flat and kind of shaped like this. And so this is like a bicep. It's like a two muscle system. Let's go back to red here. It comes down like this, and and then there's like a split between them. So it's like two muscles working together, but when you hardly ever see that split unless someone's super defined, like have like 4% body fat or maybe even 7% body fat. And you have the top part, that is the tendon here. Then you have the plantaris that's underneath there. It's really not something that terribly important to memorize, but the calf muscle is important to memorize. It's a major muscle that you're going to see from a lot of different angles that we've covered already. Let's go ahead and just add in these lines in here. Show the direction of the muscles. The muscle fibers are kind of important to learn too, because then you can know what direction the muscle's flowing and learn the muscle flow, so you can draw the muscle with style, and it just adds a lot of knowledge that's really useful. Right, and there's really no reason to mirror all this and draw both sides of it right now, so I only drew one side of it. But go ahead and mirror it on the other side. It's really not that difficult to mirror it. And make sure you draw it from both sides so you get used to how the muscles look from both sides. What that's going to let you know is that, okay, when I draw it from this side, the calf's going to come out here. This is a really stylized big calf. And then these muscles are going to come out like this, and then they're going to come down and connect. So knowing that inside is calf, outside is this, being able to draw from both angles is going to help you do that. So do take the time to convert this over in a mirror image and draw it on this side as well. Maybe even sketch and something like that, and then draw the muscles into that region. That might be helpful. Right, so that's the calf muscles. Now, in another course I'm going to be working on, I think the course I'm working on right after this one is how to draw sexy women in pinups. It's been highly requested. But the one I really want to work on is the comic book, how to draw comics, and so go through everything you need to draw comics. And I kind of don't want to take my older courses and bundle them up with it. I kind of want to do a more speedy course. I think people that are more interested in drawing comics, they want to kind of learn anatomy in a more speedy way. This anatomy course has been a lot more in depth and goes even through some unnecessary knowledge that you don't need to know, underworkings of muscles and things like that. But I want it to be a complete, anatomy drawing course, and that's what it is. But nonetheless, I'm going to have a anatomy section within the comic course bundle. It'll be, anatomy, like the first course, because I'm going to come out with courses individually, and how I'll probably end up doing it, and you can just stop listening right now if you're not interested in none of this stuff, but how I'm going to end up doing it, I think, is through Udemy, because what Udemy allows me to do is upload videos that you can stream or download. It's up to you. You can stream them and download them for life. Once you pay for the course, for life, you can always log back into the site and you can stream the videos on your iPod or your phone, or go online to your computer, or you can download them to whatever system you want and then watch them at your own leisure later without having to be online. But I like the idea of being able to stream. Anyway, another thing I like about the Udemy is I can publish the course before it's finished. And so let's say I have the first section finished, the first course in a bundle finished. You guys can be watching that while I'm adding new lectures or adding new lessons to it, and that way you can begin to benefit and watch the course before I'm done. Like with this course here, if I could have done that with this course, you guys could have been watching this course months and months ago, because it takes months to really get through it properly. So you could have been watching this months and months ago and asking questions on Udemy saying, hey, I kind of have a question about what you just did there in that last lesson. And so it's kind of more of an interaction live thing. I post a lesson and then everyone's like waiting for it. If they've already gone through all the lessons that are up so far, everyone's waiting for that new lesson. Yay, new lesson. And then you check it out and then maybe ask questions and stuff like that. And it just makes it more personalized. And I like the fact that you could get the course sooner rather than, if I do it the way I've been doing it, you might have to wait a few months until I finish the course and get it all rendered and everything done, and then put it online and everything. And then you can download it and watch it. But if I do it through Udemy, I can, have only recorded half of the course, put it on there, and then you guys can start watching it. And then by the time you catch up, you'll never be able to catch up, right? Unless you just sit there and like watch it all one day, but you're not really learning because you're not drawing, right? You have to draw as you're going. But by the time you catch up, I've already had that many more lessons posted, so you can never really catch up to me. And so you're able to watch the entire course at a good pace without having to wait for me to finish the entire course first. So I know I kind of repeat that in many different ways. Sorry about that, but I think that is the way to go. And then once the course is finished, then go ahead and put out my site and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I like Udemy's structure too. I like how easy it is to offer people discounts and things like that. The only thing I don't like about it is their payment structure. They pay you like once a month, I think. If I recall correctly, I think I get paid once a month to them, and I kind of don't like that, having to wait an entire month. Because what if I, had made several sales, and I had to wait a month to get that check? That's a long time to wait to get money that you might need. Whereas through PayPal and through my site, I get instant payments, and so it's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. I have a bill that's due, and I just sold a couple copies of my course, and I can go pay that bill. That's awesome. Or, hey, I kind of needed some groceries and I'm kind of out of money. Oh, cool, course just sold. I can go buy some milk or whatever, when times are hard like that. But anyway, so maybe you guys let me know what you think of that. Those of you that are obviously watching this course, shoot me an email. The email's on my website. All you do is go to ipaintgirls.com or masterpaintingnow.com, go to the contacts page, and then you just send me an email that way. And let me know if you like that idea of the Udemy structure for the next course. And then also, especially the comic book bundle course, because I'm going to do it in sections. Eventually, it's going to become the ultimate comic course bundle, but there'll be one course done on backgrounds, one course done on inking and coloring, one course done on anatomy for comic artists specifically. It's going to be a much more refined version of this course here. It's going to be much quicker paced, and it's just going to go through the bare essentials, the muscles that are absolutely necessary to know that you can see, the outer muscles, the exterior muscles that you absolutely need to know. And I'm not going to be going through all those inner muscles that you never see and stuff. And it's going to be much faster paced. Yeah, it's going to be a much faster paced course. So it's going to reduce all this knowledge here, get rid of all the unnecessary knowledge. It's not necessarily unnecessary, it's just not needed to really draw figures well. You don't need to know a lot of these under muscles. I just wanted this to be a complete figure course. That's why, anatomy course, that's why I went through it. But the anatomy course for comic artists will be sped up, and it's going to be a lot shorter than this course here. We're talking a lot shorter. I'm going to try to reduce it to like, this is a 65-hour course, so I'm going to try to reduce it to like 20 hours or less. And I think I can do that. In other words, the bones are going to be reduced to like basically just a skeleton. And then I'll just go into a couple of details about like the kneecap bones, the elbow bones, things, those bones that matter. But, the leg is really going to be reduced to a skeleton, and we'll just like, okay, here's where the muscles attached to it. Right. So anyway, that's what I have coming in the works. That's what I have planned. Is I really want to get a comic course bundle out there because it's unfortunate. There's a lot of courses out there. There's a lot of tutorials out there for sale, and sometimes they're $60 for an hour, for 1 hour little tutorial, and it sucks because I hate to mention names. I'm not going to. In fact, I'm not. You sure already know who these big companies are. I'm not going to mention the names of the companies, but what they do is they'll produce a tutorial, and it's like an hour long, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and they charge like $60 to $90 for this video. And all it is a sped up version. So the person draws an image of the landscape and a couple people, or draws a person within a background, and basically they draw one painting, and then they go, okay, and they speed it up After they record it, they take it and they speed it up. It's not real time. They speed up to at least double the speed, sometimes triple, quadruple the speed. And then the guy's just like commentating on what while he's watching. He's rewatching his sped up video and he's just commentating, going, "Yeah, well, at this time, this is what I was thinking." And then now I'm kind of drawing trees and stuff, but he's not telling you this is the structure of a tree. This is how a tree works. This is the form of a tree. And to get that necessary knowledge, it's like, how do I word it? It's like I'm trying to relate it to that old parable about the horse. If you if you lead a horse to water, you teach it how to drink one time. But if you, or rather, let's do the one with the man. If you give a man water, then you feed his thirst one time. But if you teach a man how to find water and how to dig a well, how to purify water from a river, and so forth, then you fed his thirst for a lifetime. And that's my goal. That's what I try to do. I try to give the knowledge that's necessary, what it takes to draw that thing for a lifetime. Not just like, here, I'm drawing this one pose for you, and maybe if you watch this video enough times, you can memorize this one pose, and that's fantastic. Now you can draw this one pose. You didn't really learn nothing though. Why is that pose the way it is? And that's what this course does. This course will teach you that it does teach you the necessary knowledge that it takes to invent your own poses, invent your own characters, because you just distort the character. And I'm gonna have a course on that too. That'll be part of the comic bundle. It's gonna be all about stylizing the figure. So how exactly do you draw cartoons and comics and manga? And it's all about stylizing the figure. If you've already watched my head course, it's the same knowledge. It all comes down to distorting, to exaggerating, and to minimizing or simplification. Any combination of those or just one of those gives you a new style to the human face. And I showed you how that basic knowledge, and you apply it to the face, you can invent your own style. And you can also dissect styles that are already out there and kind of figure out, well, this is probably how they came up with that style. And that was for the face. I'm going to apply that same thing, but to the human figure. And then that gives you a whole complete knowledge and working of how to invent cartoons, not just draw cartoons, but how to invent your own cartoons and how to invent your own style. And I know so many people strive to have their own style, and that's what that course will be able to do. I mean, I already have one for the head, so you can already, invent your own style for the head, but I also want you to be able to invent your style for everything, for the human body. And then that same knowledge you can really apply to everything and invent your own style for drawing cars and everything. But yeah, so backgrounds will be another, vehicles and weapons will be another course that's going to be part of the big bundle. And so what I want to do is put it on Udemy as the ultimate comic course, and then I'll do one course at a time, and I'll just keep posting lessons, and so you can like follow along with it as it's there. And I think that'd be really cool for people that are really impatient. They don't want to wait, the year it might take to do all those courses, because well, probably won't take that long, but each of those courses is going to take at least a month. And so basically, by the time the comic course bundle is available, it'll be like a long time from now. But I will be releasing those courses individually first, and then I'll put them in a big bundle. That way, people don't have to wait for the bundle to be ready. That'd be kind of ridiculous. But at least with Udemy, the bundle is there. You're buying the bundle, so you're getting the bundle price right from the get-go. So you don't have to like. If I didn't use Udemy, what would end up happening is, as I release each course, you're paying the full price of the course as an individual course. So you're paying the $19 for the course, for the background course. You're paying $19 for, the simplified anatomy course, or the sped up anatomy course for comic artists, and then you're paying the separate $19 for the weapons and vehicles course, and then for the stylized course, each course I'm coming out with, that will ultimately be the bundle. Whereas if you just pay for the bundle, you're just paying the $40 or the $39, whatever I decide on the price. I like to keep it fair for you guys, and fair to me too. I don't want to like undercut myself, how much work I put into it. But I also want it to always be affordable for people, because I wasn't able to afford stuff. And sure, it might be worth $100 or more, but I want people to be able to afford it. I want students to be able to afford it. I know they can't just fork out $100. And so through, the benefit then of Udemy is you can have the bundle price right from the get-go, and then as I'm putting the lessons up, you can watch them, and you'll never really catch up to me, because I already have at least one whole course up there, and so you have to like work your way through that. And as you're working your way through that, I'm working on the next course. I'm putting all those lessons up, so you pretty much never catch up to me. So you pay for the bundle, you watch it like you normally would, in the pace you would, and it doesn't matter that I'm putting new courses or new lessons up because you never really catch up to me. Even if you do, you only have to wait like a week for the next lesson, if that. So I think that structure will work the absolute best for people because they save money right from the get-go. They don't have to wait for the entire bundle to be ready, which could take 6 months to a year from now, and then go, yay! Now I can just spend $39 rather than spending 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Rather than spending $80 or whatever it's going to cost to buy each course individually, they can just get it right now for like half price and then watch it at their own leisure as it comes up on Udemy. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to do it. I think it'll work, be beneficial for everyone. But if you decide, you think it's a bad idea, go ahead and send me an email and tell me why you think it's a bad idea, and then maybe I'll change my mind. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my little babble. This lesson was only half. I think I was done with this lesson at like 24 minutes, and I've been talking ever since for quite a while now. But um, hopefully you enjoy these talks. And like I said, if you wanted to, you could have just stopped and the lesson was over. But I like to share my thoughts with people, and yeah, that's pretty apparent, I guess. All right, thanks for watching.